There's nothing I can say to make this better, but I will try my best to properly convey my feelings, frustrations, and mistakes. Redacted has been my co-content creator since I began making content, managing all aspects of what I do and being a major part of why I'm here. We have also been in a relationship since the start of my endeavors. It's no secret that many VTubers choose to keep their public and personal lives separate, and I'm no different. As of yesterday, he is no longer working with me, and have not extensively discussed any of this with him. Alright, Where our personal situation goes from here will be figured out between us privately. After years of working on everything together, his hyper-business-oriented outlook warped my view of what it is I should be doing. I have a terrible work-life balance as it is, and being around projects and stream all day every day made me lose sight of the point. It took all of this happening for me to realize this behavior isn't normal or healthy, and it's not an outlook I want to have. This doesn't absolve me of the things I've willingly done wrong and went along with, or the way I've treated people who were fully undeserving. I'm gonna point out the elephant in the room. I'm sorry. Your boyfriend is your manager. If he's your boyfriend, he has a vested interest in your success. He's gonna keep helping you. Or Red could be over your shoulder right now helping you word an apology to win the public back over. What this all boils down to, is people taking your word for it that you had no idea what was going on. In regards to Nanoliz, for the majority of the time working with her, Red was the one almost solely doing the communication about new plans and negotiations through his private DMs. We had come to the conclusion that it'd be in my best interest to talk with Nano about making more time for my projects by negotiating with her to cut out other work. You still wouldn't pay her a retainer though. This was wrong for us to push onto her. Us! You were aware! Regarding the exclusivity deal made between them, I had no part in the direction negotiations of their eventual agreement, and I had no knowledge of Bao and Cotton being included in this list. If I had known my friends were included, I would have said something to put a stop to it. No, he would never vent to you about like the problems talking with Nano or anything. No, that's just not how relationships work, you know? When Nano had messaged about this agreement almost a month later, I was under the assumption this was only about Silvervale. I was upset at my initial messages to her were very guilt-trippy. I had no idea there was even a conversation about Shylily recently between Red and Nano until reading our document. I was never even aware Nano was ever planning to work on a model for another of one of my friends, Geary. Yes, Red and I were initially upset when Bao hired my editor, and I took it personally when I shouldn't have. So why do you admit in this document that it upset you, but then you say I would never do anything like that, when you quite literally did it to Silver? And yes, I was also upset when Sack, the Boss Rush MV editor, had told us that he won't be working on any future projects with us and would instead be working exclusively for Bao. But Red got it in his head that it was Bao's fault that it happened and seemingly held a grudge against her for it. No, you both got it in your heads. I don't believe it for a second that you two never discussed this. You never sat down at a dinner table and were like, damn, I had a really rough day talking to Nano about Bao. Like, you really think that doesn't happen? But he told me without an MV editor as talented as Sack, the future projects wouldn't reach the same heights, so he created this headcanon that's laid out in those DMs. I wasn't convinced this was the case, but it's my fault for never speaking with Bao about these things directly to clear things up and letting it spiral to the point it got to. I wasn't convinced this was the case, but I let him go ahead and paint that headcanon in his DMs with Nano that I definitely didn't have any knowledge of, chat. The It's Just Business screenshot of my DMs with Nano's document was from November of 2023. And what Red was trying to explain to Nano is that if everyone has a model by her, then the innate value of her models overall are diminished by there being an oversaturation of that type of model out there. I understand where he is coming from with this. I don't, sorry. But in the VTuber space, this isn't something we should have pursued. Me saying it's just business was referring to my acceptance of Nano's business decisions, whether she chose to work with me or not. This was not in reference to anyone's motto being cancelled, further explaining to her that it's okay if she chooses not to work with me. I can understand where the next part can sound manipulative, but my intention was to reminisce about the journey we had together up to this point. Since at this time, I wasn't sure if this is where Nano and I would start working together as frequently as we had been. Yeah, because you didn't do an exclusivity deal and then you wanted her to blacklist people. When talking about Silvervale, I need to start at the beginning. Before I was Sinder, I was a pink cherry blossom girl named Tashi that did ASMR content. When the VTuber boom happened in 2020, I knew I wanted to join in. Red and I contacted an artist in October, and they were set to start my VTuber design by December. The plan was to take my cherry blossom persona Tashi and make her a pink and white wolf girl VTuber. In November of that same year, Silvervale revealed her Sakura wolf design. I had heard of Silvervale earlier that year, but I didn't watch her streams at all. We knew we had to pivot before we stuck with a design that would just be a copy of one of the most popular VTubers at the time. Since I started streaming, I've been ruthlessly compared to Silvervale, being called the discount version of her. I don't know how to say this really nicely. Stop reading comments. People say stupid shit online. Don't let it get to you. I grew more and more resentful of Silver over time between the constant belittling of myself, a controversy around my first waifu cup. You need to stop reading like comments like that. People are stupid. It was also the fact that made me insecure. Like, I wanted to know if she believed all of these things or not. It really felt as if she didn't like that I even existed in the same space. So at the point I was working with Nano consistently, we brought up not making any more models for her. If a VTuber model is how everyone recognizes you, then it'd be harder to compare us directly if we no longer look alike or have shared similarity. So you thought it was okay to take away her opportunity to have a model with Nano. Buffpup also has a very rocky, like metally type of design too. Are you saying that Buffpup as well, like, somehow has, like, the same thing going on? Silver was completely undeserving of this treatment, and it is what my own insecurities that led me to making this choice. I became unapologetically evil towards her due to no direct action of her own. There's no excuse for any of this. Moving on from Silvervale, let me talk about spite. Once again, I had no involvement or knowledge of Red bringing up spite to Nano in 2023. My only personal involvement with excluding someone specific from working with Nano was Silver. My design sheet and outfit were finished and made public at the very start of 2021. The first thing she mentions is a debut teaser in 2022 that was apparently posted the same day as her original debut, which I honestly don't know if it at the time was intentional or not. When I first debuted, I was very possessive of my design details. I've made it a year and a half since my design sheet was finished and public to having a full VTuber debut as I watched everything grow and change from the sidelines. And I didn't want anyone else to capitalize on my concept before I could. You spent the entirety of the last paragraph how insecure you were being compared to a VTuber that doesn't look or sound anything like you, so now you want me to believe you had no concerns about a VTuber who actually does look similar to you, except she actually had receipts for doing all her designs before you. Soon after my original debut, I remember Spike getting an update to her model that made it seem like she more closely resembled me, including fire added to her model. Without evidence, I saw it and thought she must have copied me, but I never did anything about it other than voice my frustrations to Red. Keyword, I voiced my frustrations to Red, who then also got mad and brought it up to Nano. So you do talk to each other when you have an issue with a VTuber. Unfortunately, both my Angel and Sleepy outfits being similar to outfits Spite has done in the past was just a coincidence. Spite never should have received the hate comments over her outfit or any comments comparing us or belittling her because of my existence, and I never advocated for anyone to do so, especially given my experience. Spite also brought up another creator who reached out about her experience with me, and I can only assume it's Nyan Tales. Oh, they are an ASMR artist who at one point posted a Hellhound OC for their upcoming ASMR videos, undoubtedly created using me as a reference. How do you know that? Undoubtedly created using me as a reference! What do you mean? At the very start of my online my career, I was a girlfriend experience ASMR artist. Before I started my channel, I had gotten into listening to roleplay audios myself. I had always been a shut-in throughout high school and college, and I wasn't happy with where my life and my relationship were at the time. I have never had many IRL friends and had met Brainy doing ASMR. I quickly became comfortable chatting with him about everything, divulging my grievances about my personal life when I shouldn't have. I cheated on my boyfriend Rainy in these conversations, flirting and sexting. I used Rainy for emotional comfort and sexual fantasy while I let my real life relationship collapse. But you're still with him. Not the NTR portion, chat. This is actual NTR. It was my dissatisfaction with my personal life and escaping into messages with someone else who I found through content focused around girlfriend and boyfriend roleplay. It was never about climbing the ladder with Rainy, and I found that being his takeaway from why I moved on was baffling. By the time I was ready to debut as Sinder, I wanted to leave that in the past. Still to this day, I regret my decisions. I've been living with it since, and I was lucky to be able to mend my relationship after this. Okay, this is a really big one. Peaches is the one that outed her for having a boyfriend because she knew her back in 2020. And lastly, I want to address Peaches. This is a very big problem I have, and I'm sure many others in my position do too. At the end of the day, I am one person. I am one person working on multiple projects with multiple companies, talking to dozens of people, and streaming for hours almost every day. You're not one person, you're two people. She said, I am the person that does the streaming, my boyfriend does all the freaking business. Red has always been a big help in keeping up with things, but he doesn't do everything. I'm so sorry I made you feel forgotten, Peaches. I've always cherished your friendship, and I was incredibly excited to meet you in Paris. I'm so grateful for everything you've done for me, and I've never thought to purposefully drop you just because I could. I'm sorry. I know I've made a lot of people feel forgotten and ignored. It's so easy to get caught up in projects or what I'm doing. Well, I have the energy to do it that people fall by the wayside. I understand the feelings of those who resent me over this, and all I can say is I'm sorry. Chat, Red doesn't do everything for me, but he did do all the things that hurt my friends and not me. No, I had no idea. To Nano, I'm sorry I let everything get to this point and entertain the thought of you working with me exclusively. That's not fair to you. I wouldn't be here without you. I wouldn't have been able to do what most of what I've already done without you. Can I reiterate that Nano said that they didn't want to pay her an exclusivity fee and that she should just cut people out no matter what. I felt overly attached to our relationship over the last 4 years, and I loved working so much that I wanted to make myself exclusive to your art, and I should never sought those feelings to be reciprocated. Everything you've worked on me for was always perfect, and I lost sight of everyone else around me have felt. I had no intention of pressuring you into anything, but looking back on my cloud of judgment, I can see how my messages felt that way. When I talked about how my models helped you improve, I meant that looking back on how far we've come together. That's also not true. I saw screenshots of them saying, oh, well, without us having you learn how to cut the rigs and learn how to make art better, you wouldn't have come this far without us. Also, I'm pretty sure it was Red that read that message or wrote that message. It wasn't Sinder. So is this Red or Sinder talking? I never saw you as just a business partner. I thought I was reassuring you. I'd always be understanding. Blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry what I put you through. To Bao. This is a big one. Red literally said that Bao's songs are a flop and that Cinder's better. To Bao, since the start, I've always admired and how genuine you've always been to everyone. I wouldn't be here without you either. I'm disgusted myself for buying into the narrative that my friends were competition. I've never had such genuine friendships in my life, especially with you. We've gotten to know each other so well and in person. You've already been through so much, and the last thing I wanted to do is cause you more harm, but I did. I'm sorry for not reaching out sooner about these ideas that were put into my head. I wish we would have been able to talk about this too. I didn't know about the severity of things that have been said and theorized about my own friends behind my back until now. It's my fault for not realizing the things Red was saying about you. The countless friendships I've made here within the last several years mean so much more to me than him and the business side of things. Throwing him under the bus again. I can't stress enough about how disappointed I am that I didn't see this sooner until I got to a breaking point. I'm sorry, Bao. She got Silvervale's bottle canceled on her birthday. Yes, I know. It's so sad. I love Silver. That breaks my heart. And I remember seeing the Bao model too, like the teaser of it, and I felt so bad. To Sack, this is the video editor. I love getting to chat with you in person and absolutely loved all the hard work you put into the Boss Rush song! I was so grateful to hear you were on board to edit the music video. I don't remember exactly why the stream got pushed back, but I definitely wouldn't have put the blame on you, knowing about how soon the deadline was when you started working on it. I was so thankful for your willingness to complete the project despite everything, and the quality of how it turned out was incredible. I can't believe how Red talked about you, especially after all the effort you put in for me. I'm so sorry for everything that's happened. To Cotton and Lily, I'm so sorry you had to get dragged into this. It's my fault I let it get this far, but I hope you can believe me when I say I had no knowledge of Red bringing you up in Nano's DMs. I just learned about this all myself, and there could have been so many other friends affected by this narrative that things always had to be competitive. If I knew Red was trying to exclude specific friends in this exclusivity deal, I would have spoken up. None of my friendships are worth sacrificing over an art piece. Except when that art piece makes you more money. I loved being your friend and all the memories we've shared, and I hope someday you can forgive me for allowing this to happen. To Silver. Since the start, I loved that I saw someone else sharing so many similar interests to me, and I thought maybe someday we could talk about it and be good friends. I was blinded by all those hate comments around me calling your lesser half. I hate the person I've become towards you. I tried reaching out some time ago to try and start up a friendly conversation to change things and make things right, say hi to you at conventions, and support your endeavors. But despite all that, I was still being eaten alive by my own doubts and fear or harassment. I was pressured by the community as a whole to try reaching out to collaborate since I got those messages so often comparing us, and I hoped we could work something out. I'm so sorry for any opportunities I've taken away from you. I'm sorry, Silver. Yo, Cinder, you need to stop reading 4chan. I'm sorry I had assumed things about your design, Spite, that weren't true, and I'm sorry you've been harassed by commenters and you need to compare us, and apologize for the way Red spoke to you about Red spoke about you to Nano. You didn't deserve any of this, Spite. I'm sorry. To Peaches, I'm sorry it made me seem like I was ignoring or ghosting you. I was so happy we had the opportunity to meet in person. I was apologetic with how busy things were for me at the time. I wanted to spend more time with you, but as I got more and more DMs and messages, everything became so overwhelming, and I've always had a low social battery. And then it made it so hard for me to keep up to date. Well, my friends have never had any ill feelings towards you, and I still don't. To Rainy, the fingering guy. You were the first person I met as an ASMR artist. During a time where I was immature and vulnerable, I ended up being consumed by the content I was making, and it led me to making awful decisions I still think about and regret. I was not in a good spot at the time. I've hated myself for this kind of behavior, and it took a long time for me to move on from what happened. Did she ever tell her boyfriend that she cheated on him, or is just finding out? We don't know, but let's just assume he already knows. I'm sorry to my Pyro Pups and my mods for expecting me to lead by a better example than this. I'm sorry to the VTuber community for looking towards me as someone to aspire to. I'm sorry to Kaiser, who's put his heart and soul into everything he's ever done for me, and not talking to you about how I felt. The way I've been perceiving things lately is not how I want to view the world moving forward, and this goes to show there's a lot I need to address and improve if I'm to continue being a creator. I'm devastated that the friendships so special to me may understandably never be mended again. I love my job and I love all the friends I've had. Thank you for reading, Cinder. I wanted to address some people's responses that were directly affected. Bao says, how can you say you didn't know? I showed you both my base model sketch from Nano at WeebCon. We walked on stage and performed together. You were in the group chat where I shared my sadness over Nano suddenly canceling my model after we were close to begin live 2D and rigging, and to now find out that just the day before I shared my sadness, this is the conversation that happened that ruined months of debut prep, planning, merch, and preparation. If you want to apologize to me, please do it properly and stop hiding behind Red. Smoge, Nano had to drop me as a client because her work schedule is too hectic. Oh, she dropped the dog, man. She dropped the girly pop group chat. Yikes. No, I'd be heartbroken too, chat. Like, for reference, I would be devastated. And then to find out that the girl that I was trying to be friends with told my artist not to. Buffpup says f*** off. I had no involvement or knowledge, as if partners don't tell everything to each other. This is what I'm saying about like that. Like, I brought this up too. Like, as if boyfriend and girlfriend don't tell each other every single little thing. You're blaming him to save yourself. I'm so disappointed in you both. Shame on you for the pain to have caused all your friends just so you can be the best. That was disappointing to read. As creators, we're responsible for our own brand and image. We're responsible for the relationships we maintain and how we treat others. When you're calling out for your wrongdoings, it's always best to take accountability for your own actions. No excuses, no manipulation, no redirection. Thank you, Elly. Jesus, dude. Mistakes, jealousy, and losing control are understandable. You can grow from them, but betrayal is different. It shows you're willing to sacrifice close friends whether it's convenient, and no business should ever justify saying that. Layna says, this is someone you supposedly loved and worked close with as a team for years. I can't imagine for the sake of an online image throwing someone away so effortlessly, claiming you didn't know what they were doing. And it's for 5 freaking years. There's just no way. People have falling outs, people piss each other off, people end up not clicking or having misunderstandings. I get that, but dude, you were at the top. Thank you! Comparing yourself when you were at the top! You had everything. You had a massively supportive community. A group of girls who stuck by you. You're a partial owner of a company. People would die to be there where you're at, and you actively sabotage the people closest to you as well as the creators that had nothing to do with you. I always looked up to how hard you worked and how much you kept a good head on your shoulders being where you're at, but damn, dude. We're not all perfect, and this is a clear example of being a human. We make mistakes. I just hope in time you're able to take ownership of that and not put it on someone else. Feeling insecure is rough, and it's hard to treat people right when that happens. I think you did the right thing by being open about your feelings. Even if not everyone will be okay with it, I hope it can help you and your friends can heal. He hasn't been talked to extensively about the situation. Oh. Yeah. Sinder, this is like me saying I have zero insight into things Zolan does on my behalf. Come on. Yeah, Victoria is married to Zolan, and he is also like her manager. Lily just dropped. Oh, here, okay. Oh my god! Oh my! The absolute audacity to sit here and continue to manipulate and gaslight is absolute insanity. The pain and mental torment you've caused to the ones closest and most supportive of you has been devastating, and I have never been so heartbroken and hurt so badly for my friends. You are the fakest person I've ever had the displeasure of supporting. Reading and hearing of how you've really viewed me behind my back, not just through screenshots of your man. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm fucking sinking in my chair. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy shit, your man. Your man. Oh my god. Oh my god. Reading and hearing of how you've really viewed me behind my back, not just through screenshots of your man, but also your very own messages, while having to sit here and read through this bullshit lies you spin, make me want to vomit. To claim that you didn't know a single thing and had zero awareness of what your man was up to when everyone who shared even a single moment with you knows that you basically operate as the same person, sharing every waking moment while loving to jump at the slightest opportunity to turn into your most slanderous self as soon as the opportunity was given, even when talking about your friends is sickening. Oh, she's dropping the f***ing lore right now. I have experienced your own actions without red in a situation where in your own screenshotted words you express a pressure to live up to what Lily is, and proceeded to throw one of your most loyal and supportive friends under the bus after months of continuous planning just because you consistently chose business over friends, never feeling bad for failing them. They were all in the group chat, bro. Just to earn the bag and compete with me over V-Card collab that you rescheduled to be on the exact date your friend needed you to keep an important promise. You actively lied about it to them instead of blaming me for the collab you rescheduled, adding dragged me to the pool of excuses to save your ass when you realized you were being a bad friend. Yeah, they did reschedule the collab. I remember that. Because V-Card dropped and they were supposed to do one together since they're both the poster children for it. Why blame me for choosing to miss an obligation you agreed to on one of the most important days in that friend's career? Everything you do is out of competition through your constant need to one-up the people who are the sole reason you even have these opportunities and platforms to earn from to begin with. You're welcome, by the way! You claim that it's just business. Well, in the business world, there has to be accountability, and all you've done is try and shove it away and admit to nothing. In true narcissistic fashion, you're only feeling sorry about yourself and your own consequences in your career to try and salvage it. I'm sorry for everyone who looked up to you as an inspiration. I'm especially sorry for your fans. Pyro Pups deserve better. Oh man, she did not like hold back on this at all. She popped the off. This is insane. I didn't expect it to be this, like, this isn't even being vicious, it's just like, you know, just being real, you know? Again, I read this whole thing. You guys watched me read it, and the whole time, I genuinely thought the whole time that there was a lot of holes to be poked in, and backtracking and saying, oh, I'm sorry, but like, it's kind of like, I'm sorry I got caught kind of deal, you know? Who did this? You fucking criminal. You fucking criminal. I ought to put you in jail for this.